proves that the greatest...
Hey, Chineke. Yeah, it's Charles on it, and we're back with another reaction video. It's been a minute. Like, I've been so busy lately, I've not had time to record. Sorry about that, guys. This one is the rise, fall, and rise of Marcus Rashford. This is for my football fans. The main football, not American football. Yeah, so Marcus Rashford has been through a lot. EJO, you know that you know that Marcus Rashford has been through a lot in his career. And um let me not talk too much. Let's just jump right in this one. Yeah, shout out to the football narrative for this video. Let's just jump straight right into this one.
4 years ago, Marcus Rashford was England's villain, booed by his own fans, blamed for England's Euro final defeat, and received death threats and racist abuse that nearly broke him.
And Rashford has missed.
But champions aren't defined by how they fall. It's about how they bounce back. Today, that same player isn't just scoring crucial goals for England again. He's doing it in the iconic colours of FC Barcelona.
This is my club, FC Barcelona. And Rashford has been, to be honest, has been one of our best players this season.
Barcelona, leading their attack and feeding millions of children along the way. In the next 18 minutes, witness the complete rise, fall, and unexpected Barcelona reign of Marcus Rashford. Before, Marcus Rashford was scoring in front of 70,000 at Old Trafford. He was just another kid from Wythenshawe, one of Manchester's toughest estates, where football dreams usually get swallowed by concrete. His mother, Melanie Maynard, was raising 5 kids on her own, often working multiple jobs just to keep food on the table. Rashford would later say,
shout out to all single moms. In fact, shout out to all single parents that are actually pushing to give their children a better future. Like, I can tell it's not easy at all. And shout out to my Rashford moms.
sometimes there wasn't enough. My mum had to go without so we could eat. Those words would later become the reason why years later he would fight tooth and nail to make sure no child in Britain went hungry. But back then, Marcus wasn't a campaigner, at least not yet. He was just a shy boy who clung to his football as a way out. When France...
He was just a shy boy. Marcus Rashford is still shy too now. Till date, he's still a shy guy. If you used to watch his interviews and everything, well, you know that Marcus Rashford is actually shy.
Lifted the 1918 World Cup, Rashford was living on free school meals. And while other kids his age imagined bright futures, he just wanted to survive. His first taste of football was on the rough pitches of Fletcher Moss Rangers, a tiny grassroots club in South Manchester. But Fletcher Moss isn't just any local club. It's a factory of United legends. Wes Brown, Jesse Lingard and Danny Welbeck all passed through this same academy. Scouts knew it well. Still, when they first saw Rashford, he didn't look like much. He was skinny, quiet and barely said a word. But on the pitch, different story. He was skinny, quiet and barely said a word. But on the pitch, different story. Coaches remembered his explosiveness, his balance, how he always seemed 2 steps ahead. By age 7, United had signed him to their academy, but signing didn't translate to success for him. For the next 9 years, Rashford sacrificed everything. Birthdays, weekends, holidays, all traded for endless training sessions, long commutes, and the relentless pressure of carrying Manchester United's badge on his chest. Yet, he never forgot where he came from. Even after moving into academy housing, he would travel back to Wythenshawe and play with his friends. And every time he did, they reminded him, "You're one of us, make it for us." That weight of representing his family, his community, and friends stayed on his shoulders. By 2016, he was still relatively unknown outside academy circles. He wasn't a golden boy like Rooney or Giggs before him. He was a prospect, a brilliant one no doubt, but nothing like the Pogbas. But then, fate had a different...
I need to watch Boba in Monaco. I keep forgetting to watch Monaco matches. Uh, like Boba is also a player that I've gone through a lot, and like he's one of the elites, like one of the top midfielders I know in football.
Way of seeing it. On a particular day, one of United's senior strikers got injured just before a Europa League tie against Midtjylland. Louis van Gaal had no choice but to throw in the 18-year-old Rashford. What happened next turned a quiet academy graduate into a household name. Rashford marked his appearance with 2 goals on his debut.
To cut it back again. Clever movement so far from Manchester United.
3 days later, another 2 against Arsenal, his boyhood club's fiercest rivals. In the space of 1 week, Marcus Rashford went from anonymous teenager to Manchester's newest hero. This fairy tale debut was the start of an expectation, a pedestal so high that when Rashford stumbled years later, the fall would feel twice as painful. But for now, Rashford's story was only just beginning. By the summer of 2016, Rashford wasn't Manchester's secret anymore, he was England's. Roy Hodgson shocked everyone by naming an 18-year-old with barely 20 senior appearances in his Euro squad. And when he came off the bench against Wales, his first touches had the entire nation asking,
Just look at this defender. No.
And when he came off the bench against Wales, his first touches had the entire nation asking, who is this kid? At United, things only escalated. He became the youngest English player to score in a European competition, then the youngest to score on his senior England debut. Every time he was thrown into the fire, he thrived. That quiet boy from Wythenshawe suddenly carried the most famous shirt in football, United's number 10. Rooney had worn it, Beckham had worn it, and now it belongs to Marcus Rashford. But what really separated him wasn't just the goals. It was the sense that Rashford was something more. Not just a footballer, but a symbol. He played with fearless joy, yes, but off the pitch, just a footballer, but a
That defender turned to ice spice. Wiggle.
symbol. He played with fearless joy, yes, but off the pitch, that's but a symbol. He played with fearless joy, yes. But off the pitch, that's where the story became bigger than football. You see, Rashford never forgot the hunger of his childhood. And when the UK government slashed funding for free school meals during the pandemic, Rashford, at just 22, did the unthinkable. He took on the government. He wrote open letters, launched campaigns, and told his own story of relying on free lunches to survive. Without the kindness of my community, I wouldn't be standing here today, he said. This wasn't a PR stunt, this was a lived experience. And the nation felt it. Parents wrote to him thanking him for keeping their children fed. Children wrote back with drawings of him as a superhero. Politicians tried to resist him, but in the end,
I think he even got an award from
his campaign forced the government into U-turns worth hundreds of millions of pounds, feeding millions of kids across Britain. All of a sudden, that kid from Wythenshawe wasn't just a striker for United anymore. He was an MBE, honoured by the Queen herself. He was on the covers of magazines, hailed as a national treasure. Journalists called him the moral compass of a generation. For many, he wasn't just scoring goals on the pitch. He was scoring victories off it that felt far more important. The timing only made the legend grow. On the field, Rashford hit his peak years between 2018 and 2020. Under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he became United's attack.
Hey, that was a man you was by you until somebody we all know entered. A bald-headed man.
Spearhead, scoring 22 goals in 2019-20 alone. His pace terrified defences, his finishing matured, and suddenly United fans believed they had their next great homegrown talisman. It was the perfect marriage. Goals on Saturday, activism on Sunday. Rashford wasn't just adored in
That statement was crazy. It was the perfect marriage. Goals on Sunday, Goes, this say goes on
Goals
Saturday,
on Saturday,
activism,
activism on
activism
Sunday.
on Sunday.
Rashford
That is
wasn't just
crazy.
adored in Manchester, he was admired across the world. But here's the thing about being a golden boy, it doesn't last forever. The higher your pedestal, the more people wait for the cracks to show. And soon enough, they did. Injuries, fatigue, and the crushing weight of expectation would collide in brutal fashion. Because as quickly as Rashford rose,
I just want to say one quick thing. If you don't love football, then you are missing a lot. If you don't love football.
football was about to remind him mercilessly how far a star can fall. July 11th, 2021, Wembley Stadium. 65,000 fans on their feet, millions glued to their screens. England versus Italy, Euro 2020 final. The tension was unbearable. The game, which had been exciting from end to end, had now come to penalties. And finally, it was Marcus Rashford's turn. This was supposed to be the perfect ending. The boy from Wythenshawe, who had forced the government to feed starving kids, now had the chance to feed a starving nation its first major trophy in 55 years. His run-up was slow, deliberate, almost theatrical, and then this happened.
And Rashford has missed.
The ball cannoned off the post. In a split second, the England dream.
He actually played the penalty pretty well, though, to be honest. He lost the keeper. The keeper has gone to Germany. Like, well, then he just had to hit the woodwork.
Collapsed. He wasn't just a player who missed a penalty, he became the villain. That night, Rashford's mural in Manchester, once a symbol of hope, was defaced with slurs.
Humans are just, I don't even know what to say.
His inbox overflowed with threats. Racist abuse poured in from all directions, and the same country that had hailed him as a saviour now condemned him as a traitor. But here's the truth. Wembley wasn't the beginning of Rashford's fall. It was just the moment the whole world saw it. Long before that game, the cracks had already been forming. For over a year, Rashford had been running on fumes. Fractured back.
I love me some dribbles. So when they just chop a defender like
For over a year,
this guy
Rashford
is
had been
God.
running on fumes. A fractured
Chai. Injury in any sports is career threatening.
back, shoulder injuries, ankle problems. His body was a patchwork of pain. A fractured back, shoulder injuries, ankle problems.
What's the this I doubt this he got injured like this. I feel like he just, oh my days. This doesn't look good.
His body was a patchwork of pain. He played through injections and painkillers, too proud to sit out, too desperate to keep United afloat. By the time he walked up to take that penalty, he wasn't the fearless kid who burst past defenders anymore. He was carrying himself on willpower alone, and instead of compassion, he got cynicism. Pundits began questioning his priorities. Was he a footballer or a politician? The same qualities that had once made him untouchable, his activism, his voice, were now painted as distractions. On the pitch, the numbers told the story.
Does that sound familiar to a youngster now that people are saying, he's distracted by this and he's distracted by this one? Human beings will always be human beings.
Goals dried up. His explosive pace, once his superpower, looked dulled. He played like a man chasing shadows of himself. The boos followed, from opposition fans, from his own fans, even at Old Trafford. It wasn't just form he lost, it was an identity. Rashford had built his career proving he could be both. an elite footballer and a social activist, a player who shined on the pitch and stood for something bigger off it. But now, the two worlds seem to be tearing him apart. Every missed shot became ammunition. Every speech or campaign outside football became a stick to beat him with. He looked drained, lost, no longer the kid who smiled after every goal, but a man weighed down by expectations.
By the way, though bad, though background soundtrack, it just makes you feel the moment you get. Nah. Again, shout out to Football Narrative on this video.
Injuries and abuse. And yet, this wasn't rock bottom. Wembley was only the crack in the dam. What came after would drag Rashford lower than even his fiercest critics believed possible. And no one, not even Rashford himself, knew if he could get back up. If Euro 2020 was the crack in the dam, then the following 2 seasons were the flood that came after. Marcus Rashford didn't just lose form, he lost himself. At Manchester United, Erik ten Hag had arrived with bold...
This is the bald-headed guy I was talking about at the beginning. This bald-headed guy, Erik ten Hag destroyed this club. He destroyed this club. Imagine when Rashford gave him 30 goals in his season, but no evidence. No freaking evidence. This guy right here, this bald-headed guy, nah.
promises of discipline and
See shape
revival.
of it.
But while United slowly found their shape, Rashford drifted further from his. His sprints looked slower, his touches heavier. That fearless burst past defenders, once his signature, now looked like a memory. Even when the chances fell kindly, the finish wasn't there. He looked hesitant, like a man second-guessing his own instincts. For fans who had seen him rise as a teenager, it was painful. They weren't just watching a player out of form, they were watching a star unravel in front of them. The boos didn't stop. The chants of fraud and overrated followed him into them. The boos didn't stop. The chants of fraud and overrated.
Anytime I see things like this, man, I feel so sad for the defender because me, I play defensive position in football. Like I feel the defender's pain. Like literally looking at him going, like he can't do nothing again. He's just on the ground. This number 2 now is his only hope. I doubt this is a number 2. I think it's 20 something also.
Followed him into every ground.
21.
Some nights, Old Trafford, the very place that had once adored him, complained louder than any opposition crowd when he missed. And behind the scenes, Rashford was exhausted. The weight of everything, the injuries, the abuse, the politics, the constant scrutiny had drained the joy out of football. For the first time in his career, he didn't look like he even wanted to be there. Then came the World Cup. For most players, it's the stage that redeems everything. But for Rashford, Qatar was a blur of uncertainty. Some games he was benched, others he barely touched the ball. He wasn't the young saviour of Euro 2016 anymore. He was a shadow, a name the manager wasn't sure he could trust. His tournament came and went without impact. England exited, and Rashford faded back into the noise. The speculation grew louder. Could this be it? Was this the end of Rashford at Manchester United? Transfer rumours filled the papers. Paris, Madrid, even whispers of him walking away from football altogether began to circulate. But here's the part people don't talk about enough. Rashford was still only in his mid-20s. For most footballers, that's the moment you're supposed to peak.
So it's been
For
your
Rashford,
prime.
it felt like he was burning out. And the worst part? Even he didn't know if he'd find the spark again. In interviews, his words were clipped, his eyes tired. When asked about his future, he gave vague answers. He wasn't smiling anymore. His connection with the fans, the same people who once sang his name like an anthem, was
in this life, just do what is best for you. Don't try to please other people. Just do what's best for you. What you know is best for you. Don't try to please other people. Don't try to please your friends. Don't try to please your fans. Don't try to just do what you know is best for you. The only place best advice can come from is from yourself and from your family members that you know that actually care about you. And as I say again, human beings, nah.
Fractured. For the first time, Marcus Rashford looked like a man standing at a crossroads with no map. Stay at Manchester United, where the weight of expectation had become unbearable. Leave for a new challenge, risking being branded a traitor to his boyhood club. Or fade into the background, another name in the long list of what could have been stories. This was his darkest valley, but just when everyone thought his story was over, another chapter was waiting, one no one saw coming. One no one saw coming.
Guess who is smiling there? Guess who is smiling there? He's literally on the road and he's still smiling. Yeah, boy. This is the part I've been waiting for.
When the whispers first surfaced, most people laughed. Marcus Rashford to Barcelona? It sounded like fantasy, like the kind of rumour an agent plants in a newspaper to inflate his client's value. Barcelona were supposed to be broke, clinging to the last memories of Messi, selling off assets just to keep the lights on. Rashford, meanwhile, looked broken, out of form, out of love with football, and out of answers at Manchester United. And yet, the call came. Barcelona's new project needed energy.
Something was omitted. He first went to Aston Villa on loan before this all happened. He was actually decent in Aston Villa, but he wasn't also happy there also. And I feel like he have always wanted a move to Barca.
They needed a forward who could stretch defences,
Yeah,
who could
yeah,
dart into the project needed
yeah,
energy. They needed a forward who could stretch defences.
yeah. Oh, Rashford, don't keep investing, Papa.
Who could dart into the spaces. Hansi Flick looked at
Hansi
Rashford
Flick,
and didn't see the
my
final
man.
from Manchester. He saw the reloaded version at Aston Villa waiting to be reloaded.
Yeah, you see.
A player who, in
Okay,
the
they
right
did not admit
environment,
it
could
was
still
just
terrify
like
defenders.
Ush.
For Rashford, hesitation
Told
was
you,
natural.
it was decent.
Leaving United wasn't just a transfer, it was walking away from his identity, his home, his entire story. Wythenshawe to Old Trafford had always felt like a straight line. To redraw that line across to Catalonia meant admitting the old joy wasn't coming back. If he stayed, the weight of expectation might finish him for good. So he leapt. Wythenshawe's own, swapping Manchester rain for Catalan sun. The start wasn't smooth. A new language, a new culture, and a dressing room packed with young talent all fighting for space. Every touch, every run, every training drill felt like an audition. But then came September 18th, 20.
That is how Barcelona is right now. The club is filled with the best of the best youngsters and have lots of potential. So you have to be like this good to be able to like be someone that our manager and Sophie can select to actually play, because there are a lot of talent on the bench. Lots of talent on the bench. So it's actually like every single match, every single training session seems like an audition.
25. Champions League football under the lights at St James's Park. Newcastle's return to Europe had turned the city into a cauldron. Black and white shirts flooding the streets, a noise that rattled the glass before kickoff. For Barcelona, it was hostile ground. For Rashford, it was a test of whether the leap to Spain had been worth it. And as he'd prove, it was. In this game, Rashford scored twice. A header, then a rebound hammered home with the kind of venom United fans had once worshipped. For a few moments, the stadium went silent. Then the Spanish commentators' voices cut through, screaming his name like it had always belonged in the Barcelona lexicon. Rashford, Rashford, golazo. The numbers began to tell their own story. By Christmas, he was back in double digits for goals across competitions, his best return in years. But more important was the way he moved. The sharpness was back, the fearlessness was back. Defenders backed off him again, not because of his reputation, but because he could hurt them. And the fans, they embraced him. Banners with his face appeared at the Camp Nou. Songs carried his name into the Catalan night.
Yeah, that's my boy. I think 9 matches or 10 matches, straight G's. Yeah, like,
For a
bruh.
kid who once painted murals in Manchester only to see them defaced, this was healing. For the first time in years, Marcus Rashford felt loved unconditionally. Even the English press, once merciless, shifted tone. They called it the rebirth of Marcus Rashford. His England recall soon followed, completing a full circle arc. The villain of 2021, back as a hero in 2024. Barcelona's style suits him perfectly. Flick gives him freedom, drifting wide, cutting inside, attacking with abandon, while their possession play meant he didn't need to chase every lost ball. Surrounded by midfielders who thrived on giving him service, Rashford rediscovered the joy that had seemed buried.
That's wow. See, like I said, do what you know that is best for you. Don't listen to people. He always knew that Barca was the best choice for him. He always wanted a move to Barcelona. He tried to move to Barcelona, I think, January summer transfer window in 2024, but it didn't work. It didn't work out. Was it in 2024? Sorry, January transfer window in 2025, but it didn't work out. But he still kept pushing, working hard, and all to make it to Barca, make Barca see him for who he actually is, one of the best players in football. And Barcelona saw that and gave him a chance. I think June, July transfer window, he was being signed to FC Barcelona. And just look at this man. He has been smiling since, so he has been smiling since, I think, since June. Since the time he heard that Barca wanted him on loan, he has just been smiling. I don't think he has ever closed his mouth.
Under years of pressure, against all odds, the player who had been written off found his true home in the vibrant heart of Catalonia. Not just reborn, but radiant, illuminating the Camp Nou with his recaptured brilliance. Marcus Rashford's story was never just about football, but in Barcelona, it finally feels like both parts of his life, the player and the humanitarian, have fused into one unstoppable force. On the pitch, he's no longer the burdened prodigy of Manchester United. He's the spearhead of a rebuilt Barcelona, the man who stretches defences, drifts wide, cuts inside, and leaves La Liga defenders scrambling. His first season in Catalonia is already silencing any doubts. The Camp Nou sings his name, and he looks at home in a way he hadn't for years. For England, the turnaround is just as remarkable. The same player who once stood in Wembley, head bowed after missing that Euro 2020 penalty, is now back in the Three Lions shirt as one of Thomas Tuchel's most reliable forwards. But Rashford's legacy has never been defined by goals alone. In Barcelona, his platform has only grown. The free school meals campaign that once forced the British government into a U-turn has now evolved into something far larger, a global initiative tackling food insecurity across Europe and Africa. Spanish newspapers call him El Futbolista de la Gente, the people's footballer. He's proof that a footballer can be more than a celebrity, he can be a shield, an advocate, a lifeline. For a generation of kids, he's the complete role model. Not because he's perfect, but because they watched him rise, fall, and then rise again. And in that story, they see the possibility of their own redemption. Coaches use his journey as a lesson. Talent opens the door, but character keeps you inside. In many ways, Rashford has come full circle. From the dirt pitches of Wythenshawe to the grand stage of the Camp Nou, from being a boy mocked for his misses to a man celebrated for his second chances. He's proven that greatness isn't about never stumbling, it's about stumbling and daring to run.
That is just it. That is just it. Every great person in this life can't tell me that they have not fallen at a point in their life That is just what makes you great. The fact that you can fall so hard and rise up so hard also. Twice harder. You fall hard, rise twice harder, or 10 times harder. That is just life. Never give up. Never give up.
Even faster. Marcus Rashford's journey is a modern epic of resilience. It's about a local kid who soared, crashed, and then found an even higher peak in the most unexpected of places. He left the club he loved, endured the darkest criticisms, but emerged stronger, bolder, and more potent than ever, not just as a goalscorer for Barcelona, but as a global voice for justice. His story serves as a profound reminder. The pitch is only part of the journey. True greatness lies in the courage to rebuild, to redefine yourself, and to let your actions, both on and off the field, speak loudest. From Manchester's streets to Barcelona's grand stage, Marcus Rashford proves that the greatest
Hey, Chineke.
Barcelona's grand stage. Marcus Rashford proves that
Hey,
the greatest
hey,
begin not where they
that
started,
poor
but where
defender.
the heart ultimately finds its home.
Nah, this was a lovely video. Shout out to Football Narrative on this one. W video. Nah. This video tells a lot of life lessons. Like, don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, because we all learn from our mistakes, and that is what makes us stronger. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. I feel like you should be more afraid not to learn from your mistakes than to be afraid to make those mistakes. That is just it. That is just it. Don't be afraid to fail. Be afraid to learn from your failure. Yeah. This was a really nice video from Football Narrative. This is a really nice video. Yeah. And FC Barcelona, the coolers, are happy to have Rashford part of our squad. I can't wait to see him in the UCL tomorrow. I can't wait to see my boys in the UCL tomorrow. Yeah, this is Charles on it. I'll catch you guys on another one. Peace. Hey, come back here. Haha, I got you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn up on this notification. Subscription is free. You just click that button right down there. You don't need to pay anything. You don't need to pay anything. Chicken money. And why am I even saying chicken money? Because there's no money involved. So just click the subscribe button to support the channel, and yeah, thanks. I'm sure by now you guys have clicked, that have subscribed. And there are people that who like clicking buttons. My people that like clicking buttons, you can just click it because you like it, and yeah, others will just subscribe, and yeah, you know the vibe. Yeah, I'm sure by now you guys have subscribed. Tell your friend to subscribe. Tell your family members to subscribe. Tell your family members, in-laws, brother-in-law, sister-in-law, everybody subscribe. Charles on it. Yeah. Catch you guys on that one. Peace.